Well, hey there, how you doing? Dave Fennoy here, another Wednesday, and here we are with another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. Some of you have gotten in touch with me to let me know that something was happening with my Twitter account, and boy, you didn't lie. I don't know how many messages I got about all the strange things that I was posting on my Twitter account. I think there were, meet women from all over the world and God knows what else, but somebody stole my account. I can't even get into the old Twitter account. So do me a favor. If you've been following me on Twitter, it's a new Twitter. It's Dave Fennoy VO, or at Dave Fennoy VO. Well, there it is right there. And hopefully this is just a small bump in the road, as they say. This Ask Dave Fennoy Anything will live on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. And if you are interested in voiceover coaching with me, davefennoy.com, click on the Study VO tab, and away you go. Well, without any further ado, let's talk to my guest this evening, the amazing, wonderful Liz Atherton. There she is, everybody. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
You're funny.
How you doing?
Thank you. I am doing, it's a good Texas slang, finest frog hair.
Fine.
Good.
and
I
you know,
am.
I've heard that over the years, and when I was a much younger person, I collected a few frogs from time to time, and I never saw a frog with hair. I guess that's what it means, finest frog hair.
That's pretty fine.
That's pretty so fine
Yeah.
you can't see it. It's so fine
Exactly.
it's not even there.
Not even.
Liz, you have been in this business for about 40 years as an agent and as a casting director, which you are now. And tell me how you got started as an agent. I always wonder how people get into that side of the business and why. I guess it's for the money from us actors, but why?
No, it's not for the money from you actors. That is a nice benefit, though. When my older two boys, who are now 39, almost 40, and 35, 36, born in 83, anyway, they were really cute, and I put them with an agent, and that agent embezzled their money. So, and I caught it, and it got resolved-ish, but it was a really disappointing event. So I said, well, I think I can do this, and it ends up another agency in town was going for sale, so I bought it with the partner. And I was silent for many years. And then she didn't want to do it anymore, and I left the corporate game, and I took over. But in the meanwhile, I'd always been a part of it, and especially my kids. My kids had some good successes. I took it over. I brought it into the electronic age. I had a lot of good stuff that happened from there. But I always had this desire to build a widget. I'm a widget builder. And so way back in 95, I reserved casting.com. I mean, it went away, but I had it because I just knew
In
where I was going.
95? Wow.
Yes. I talked about this. One thing I'm not good at, Dave, is raising money. And so I talked about it. And when in the meanwhile, I did have the first talent agency interactive website, the first one in the world ever. And my son, Nick, took over. He's just this brainiac. He taught himself how to code, and he took over the back end. And then the whole debacle happened with voices and voice bank. And he and I looked, and we said, it's time to build it. And it took us a couple of years, but we got a fund, someone to invest. And so I sold my agency, and I went into casting, and we built a website for finding work. It's very different than everybody else, and we are learning and going through some growing pains because of that, but we're really proud of the work. And that's I think that's enough, right? Had kids along the way, dogs, cats, chickens.
Well, no. You had the kids. You acquired the dogs and cats and kids.
This is indeed true.
I don't know. That's one of my fears about AI. One day they'll have human beings spitting out all kinds of animals. I want to give birth to an elephant. Well, anyway, off topic, but that's a great idea for a really weird movie.
A little perverted, Dave. I'm here to say it's got a little hint of on the edge, but it could be film noir.
Well, I've been told I'm not well, and I have to agree.
Well, me either. That's
Now-
how we get along.
Now, I noticed from your bio that you weren't just casting for voice, you were casting for TV, film, and you had some actors that did some work in some Oscar-winning films. What were some of those films?
I did. And actually, I wasn't the casting director. I was their agent at this time when they were hired. So the first one that I'm most proud of, because I birthed him, was my son, Nick. Just saying, he got some of that from me. I'm not quite sure what, because he's remarkable and very different. But Nick was cast as alongside George Clooney and Shailene Woodley in a lead role a starring role in The Descendants. And
Which
yeah,
character?
have you
Which
seen it?
character was he?
Sid, the boy.
Oh, okay.
Her friend. So it was George Clooney. It was all equal bill. Well, except for George. George, Shailene Woodley, Nick Krause, and Amara Wilson. Yeah, so that movie got.
I haven't seen that film in a while, but it's a film I really liked. Great story, heartwarming, funny, a little bit tragic, but really good movie. Really good movie.
Yeah, it got 5 Oscar nominations and it won 2. And it was a thrill and a half to see my kid standing and getting interviewed at the Oscars. So that one was really cool. Another kid that I read, I was really good at picking child actors. I mean, actors in general. I think I learned early on, especially in this business, to trust my gut. And my gut just speaks volumes. I remember I met a young lady and repped her shortly.
Yeah, my gut speaks volume too, but usually it's a poofy, smelly noise. But seriously,
well,
folks.
Of course, I'm a female and that never happens.
Oh.
But anyway, I just would know. I'd like, this girl's she's going to be interviewed on the Jimmys, and she's going to lead, and she landed the lead role in a huge series. I just know these things. Anyway, another one was Ryan Lee, and he starred in Super 8. Yes. No, the other Steven Spielberg one.
Well, quite a few Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, he starred in it. Well, and he was one of the stars of the 6 kids. They get on a train, and for the life of me, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, he booked that through our agency, and that whole experience was a hoot and holler, because anytime we even breathed any name section, we had to sign an NDA. If I had someone else come in and take this next audition, we'd sign an NDA. It was so full of protecting the information. And I got stories around all that. But when they booked him, Steven Spielberg and the director M. Night Shyamalan sent me a box of cookies. Oh God! I mean, and it wasn't just any box. It was a box of the finest cookies known to man, and there were hundreds of them.
So let me ask you: do you still have that box, or did you eat those cookies?
Have you seen my ass, Dave? Have you seen my ass?
Well, actually, Liz, no, I have not seen your ass.
I haven't either lately. I can't turn around that much.
Oh boy. Wait a minute. Let me steer this car right back where we're supposed to be going.
Listen, I warned you. I was in a mood. And here we go.
And here we go. So now, one of the things about you too, we're gonna. Those of you who are there and watching and listening, besides my dogs over there that are barking or growling to get out, get your questions ready. If you want to ask Liz some questions about what it takes, anything, okay? Please, not about the size of her ass, all right? But get your questions ready. She is a wonderful person, I promise you, despite the things she said so far. She's a wonderful person to find out information about what it takes to have success in this business. But you had an agency, the Atherton agency, TAG,
Mhm.
and IMDb. You were consistently one of the top percent, the 1% in the 1% of agencies there. What did it take to do that?
Honestly, I had some of the best killer agents that worked with me, and chasing those dogs. It's okay, Dave. I promise. Anyway,
Out.
it's all good. I was very fortunate. I had people that worked with me at my agencies: Jorge Elizondo, Cobble, I don't know, Jimmy Cobble. Sorry about that. Even James, and we just had great people that worked with us, and we always did collaborative talent picking. We'd always pick, but they really got in there and dug deep, and we just picked some really good people. And we had people locally and nationally, and we just did, and we had a lot of bookers. Like when Friday Night Lights was doing its thing in Austin, we had 38 principal actors in that.
Wow.
38. I know, and several series regulars. So, and I don't know. I also, I remember we had a girl land a series regular role in Heroes. And I probably should have said that. Anyway, there was some discussion about representation and all that. And, Big Dog came telling me what I was going to do. And I said, sit on it and spin. I don't know who you think you're working with. Sorry. Anyway, because I'm just, I know the worth of my talent. I know the worth of my decision making. And I think I'm also just will tell it like it is. I mean, I think that that's probably, honest to God, I cannot, my hand, God, I cannot tell you why I'm in the position within stature that I am. I am so grateful because I do think I deliver good advice that helps people. And I do it from a place of my heart and my gut.
Well,
And
let me ask you
so,
this. Right there, you say you believe you deliver good advice to people. I assume we're talking about the actors you represented. What is some of that advice? What are some of the important things, the good advice that you gave some of your actors?
can I even bring it present day? Because I do
Absolutely.
a lot of this now. Let me tell you the good advice that I give VO actors specifically. Because I'm working with the VO community. We're in a funding cycle to cast our to create our on camera
Mm-hmm.
effort. So I'm knee deep in VO. The things I always want to tell the VO talent is, look, you've got that actor in your heart, the one that wants to audition for everything and just thinks it makes the best voices and just is just rocking your world. But the rest of you sitting up here in what I call your C-suite. And in your C-suite, you've got you, the agent that represents all these voices down here, the salesman, the marketeer, the CEO, all the stuff that needs to happen so that these actors have a place to go. And you don't get caught up in one or the other. Make sure you're taking care of your business up here, and this will flourish. People, and it's your business. I think that's the best thing I would tell them, Dave. Sorry for jumping on you there.
No,
It's
no.
your business. It is not the party line. It is not what I have to say every day and in and out. It is not any of that. All of that is mere advice to you to help you. And you let in and let out what you want. But you are a company and you have to address your value, your marketing, everything about you, your sweet spot, and pay attention to the agent in here. Don't feel like you got to do it all. This agent's going to take care of you here, as well as any other agent that's out here. And then that's a whole long of advice, but that's where I find the most problems happen. People get into imposter syndrome because they get this out of whack. They don't feel like they're good enough because they watch everybody else's posts and think, I'm not like that. Why am I not like that? And I'm like, do you really think your Coca-Cola CEO and your Dr. Pepper CEO are that worried about their social media presence? you know, they're just not. They're out there drumming business.
So
And even if it's,
don't worry about the wrong things.
yeah, well, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
You know,
And you can define those wrong things, but
I think worry is a very human trait, so human. In fact, there's an old saying that if we didn't have anything to worry about, that's what we'd worry about. Um, and
and fear.
very often working with students, and sometimes working with myself. The thing that I have to say is, shut up, quiet this voice. Keep this voice that is listening and judging and figuring and wondering. Let that voice go. One of the best things I ever learned in this business is to let go of trying to make everything wonderful. Make it real. Forget.
Of course.
Just make it real. Make it. Let it come through your voice, however many of voices you've got, but let it come through something
Exactly.
that's natural in you.
But that's all sitting down here in your actor space. Where I think you get confused is letting this space not paying attention up here, and so now you're always in your heart and always in your feels. And if you're up here going, but wait a minute, I got this. I'm a great salesperson. Get out there and change your direction.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right. I've got some people who have some questions. At least one here. Terry Briscoe, Liz. That's 30 minutes I spent talking to you. That 30 minutes I spent talking to you was so valuable to me. Your honesty is always so refreshing and useful. I thank you, and I'm glad it looks like you're feeling much better. Oh, when was this conversation? Was this at VO Atlanta or?
no, no, no. A couple of things happened to me that were kind of treacherous. One was a bad bout with COVID. I had done everything to protect myself, and it still got me, and it got me good. And I finally kind of get through COVID and all this other kind of stuff. And literally the day the doctor said, "You are good to go." The next day I got Bell's palsy, and the whole right side of my face paralyzed, and it's almost back. But in the midst of this, I had started offering. I do these things where I pick charity, and I'll take a 30-minute meeting with you. It always runs over, but I'll take a 30-minute meeting with you, and you can ask me anything. I'll listen to anything. We'll talk about anything. And in return, I ask that you make a donation. Right now, it's to GVAA because I use GVAA, their rate guide, all the friggin' time. And I want people, everybody does. Let's donate and keep that business rocking and rolling. So, and I do these sessions, and I met him through one of those sessions.
Ah,
And Terry was super, super nice.
I,
And
he, you
I'm
know,
glad Terry that I could help.
he's been watching Ask Dave Fennoy Anything for a long, long time, and I finally got to meet him at VO Atlanta, and it's funny because you don't always recognize people in person from the little picture on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, he'd grown a beard, but it was like, oh man! And always a gas when I get to meet some people that I haven't, that are paying attention here and on Facebook and so forth and so on. So, I had a thought there, and it just left me. With those, you say 30 minutes of your time to find out, what are the kinds of things that most people come to you with? Is there a pattern of anything? Or
Yes, yes. The biggest thing is, well, usually it's where can I find work? And then the other thing is, there's all these people that are really doing a lot of stuff. It's the whole thing that they're watching the internet, and I'm like, stop. And I tell them, you need to set goals. And if what is your bottom rate that you'll work any project for? Let's just say it's $100, right? You set, well, I know, Dave. I'm just
I
using
know.
this for,
I'm sorry, I was just $100.
I know. Okay, $700, 1,000. Okay, $1,000. But let's be realistic. The people that I'm talking with, not all of them are really trying to break in. How do you break in? If you set yourself up here and you have no body of work, you have to build that body of work.
Yeah.
But more than that, in the early days, you need to determine your booking and your callback rate. And I say you need to do that because that will validate your voice. Okay? Oh, and that will also validate your demos or whatever it is you're using to get these auditions. And if you are not getting a lot of them, then you're probably not in the sweet spot of your voice. And you need to figure where that is. And you need to step back into your heart thing that I was talking about. And you need to figure out what is your real sweet spot. It may not be what you like to do, but it may be the booking voice. And, you just have to figure that stuff out. Or you're not auditioning well. Figure out why you're not auditioning well. Work with a coach like yourself. Figure all that stuff out, because if you're auditioning with low parameters or you're not getting auditions with low parameters, or you're not having any kind of positive situation with low parameters, you need to step back into how you're delivering your messaging.
I hear that all the time from students, that they're not booking like they'd like. Fortunately, I've got a pretty good track record with helping people learn to book and find their real voice, or sometimes you want to call it their money voice, or even voices, because a lot of people will be jealous of, say, some game or animation voice people who do a wide variety of voices and accents and so forth. But I always think of Don LaFontaine, who did one thing, and he made the most money of any of us, and was also a wonderful, wonderful person. You really only need to be your very best you, whatever that is.
Yep.
That thing that people make fun of you for, or that thing that they are blinded by, they're just amazed by, that's the thing that is going to make you money, whether it's that really funny voice or something that's very commanding or somewhere in the middle. And it doesn't really matter. It's not about the voice. It's about you, the person.
Authenticity, the person, and delivering that in a way. There's a really good exercise. It's for on-camera actors, but somehow or another think of it in terms of your voiceover voice. For on-camera actors, be in a room of people that you may or may not know, and you write on a piece of paper to the person to your left what visual impression you get, and you do the same thing with the person on the right, and then you write what you think you present. And sometimes it is night and day. I might think I present as an old hag living in a shoe. And this one over here could think I represent a 27-year-old. I mean, these are really far-fetched. But you get the idea. The same thing with your voice and your auditions and your workouts. You may think, this voice of yours that you've been putting out sounds like the best thing since sliced bread. And everyone else might be too nice to tell you that it's not. Or your booking rate is not reflecting that, or even your callback is not reflecting it. Work on it. You're in this business for a reason. You got to take help when it's offered or when it's suggested. But again, back here in your C-suite, if the numbers aren't jiving with where your expectations are, you need to step back and see why.
It's so interesting. As human beings, we see ourselves from inside. The rest of the world has a 360-degree view of us. One of the things I recommend for people getting into voiceover is to not only talk to their friends and family, but talk to strangers sometimes about, who do you think I am? How would you describe me, the kind of person I am, just from my speaking with you? What is it? What does my speaking to you make you feel like? Just the voice, not necessarily what I'm wearing, what I look like. Although if they're right in front of you, it's going to be hard for them not to. But what are the things you think about me and who I am just from me talking to you? And often, as you're just mentioning, their idea of who you are is far-fetched from your idea. Now, yes. Who you think you are authentically may not be how the world sees you. And sometimes it's...
I bet it's like that way most of the time. You think you're something and the world thinks you're something else. I mean, not to jump on you, but totally agree with that.
I've got a question here that just popped up that I want to get on here. Let's see. Tina Smith, hi Liz. I've been shortlisted the last 4 or 5 auditions. What can I do to push through to get the job?
Work with a coach, figure out why. I mean, here's the thing: if you're shortlisted, you're shortlisted. That means that the two gateways to the hire, which is your casting director and maybe an agent if you had one there too, but your casting director and the producers, they narrow that field. Casting does the first real big one, producers do the next one to it, and have influence. Okay, the producers do over the client that says, "I want this person," right? So you've made it shortlisted means you've beat a lot of people, and it's just this final bit over here that's not selling the deal, and it probably has nothing to do with you. That means that you just keep doing it. You're close. I mean, human decisions have. If you're getting past, the real mean old gatekeepers called casting that do their thing, or producers, you've made it there. You're doing something real right. What would you say, Dave?
I was going to say that that's so true. If you are shortlisted, you put on a veil, maybe you don't need to change anything. Maybe actually that is good news, that you are doing something right. Continue to go in the same vein. I just like music. Sometimes we hear a song on the radio, and the first time we hear it, I'm not really into that song. But after a few times hearing it, you're like, oh yeah, those lyrics, I didn't hear those before. Very often, the voiceover hiring community just needs to hear you a few more times before they get you. Also, you are going to grow just like that comedian that wasn't that funny when you heard him last year, and now he's gotten better, and whoa, he's gotten a lot better. You're going to grow in what you're doing, so continue doing what you're doing, and understand that sooner or later, you're going to be the one who books it, and it could be for any number of reasons that have nothing to do with the quality of your performance. I think we get down on ourselves often when we're auditioning and not booking it like we think we should, that, oh, I must be doing something wrong. Sometimes I think it simply that maybe for this project somebody else had a voice that was very similar to yours, or somebody had a brother or sister-in-law that they wanted to hire, or any number of things. But if you are making the short list, keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. This might be a good segue, and if you can tell me, I should hush, but we're about to start these things where we do audition workouts with the actual decision makers,
Ooh,
with
yes.
producers. Yeah, we're about to start this. Diana Birdsall Coaching is kind of spearheading it, but her guest lists already for the first 4 sessions are people that hired people. And there's also a powerhouse agent. And here's what I think is so cool about the powerhouse agent. And I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but the chances of this agent ever listening to you are just slim and none. But if they're doing this audit of all these auditions, she's going to listen to you, because that's part of the agreement that she gives written feedback. Anyway, I didn't mean to divert us there.
No, Liz. This is for you. We want to hear from you.
You're sweet.
It's interesting. I had a student today that was talking about something similar, not with the person you mentioned. And in Los Angeles, especially before the pandemic, it was very popular to go for a session at a studio with a casting director. And ostensibly the casting director is supposed to be teaching, but you really went to show off. You really went so this person would hear you, get to know you. And it's a great idea, unless you're not ready.
Well, exactly. But the way this one's setting up is that Diana is going to do a pre-workout with everybody that's going to audition. And then after the pre-workout where you can ask questions, and if you want to work with her deeper, you can. I mean, it's a quick turnaround. But then the audition is sent out to just those people. They upload their files, and then at every session is a casting director and a producer. So you're getting feedback from both.
Yeah.
And then, or whoever, a producer, we've got a film producer signed up, whoever is doing the feedback. And then it's all written for them, and then there's a lessons learned, and they pick the winners. There's going to, like, who the producer would pick and who the something else would pick. Yeah, whoever else is going to be there.
And I'm even going to say then, congratulations to whoever the people are who win that. But the people who don't get cast, if you got good notes, don't take it as a loss. Take it as an experience, and perhaps an experience that helps you along the way. I was at a session like this. This is a few years ago. A buddy of mine, Big Lou's, a blues singer and voiceover actor, and we both went to a Disney casting director session, and she mentioned that she had worked with Lou on a similar session a few years before. And she didn't cast him for anything between then and now, until now. Just before that, she had cast him in a movie where he got to sing and play a character. And she said, but it had been a few years, but she remembered him. And when this particular part came up that she thought would be right for him, she reached out to him and he got the part. You don't know how these seeds or when these seeds are going to sprout. Continue planting those seeds.
100%. Well, that's the other thing that's really cool is that some of these people you can't even get through, but you want to be on their roster. And not just the agent. These are agency folks. These are the goal of her effort is to pick the people actually making the hiring decisions.
Yes.
And that's who you will be auditioning for. I mean, I think it's going to be wildly popular because, I mean, for feedback alone from somebody that hires you. I mean, can it get any better than that? To me,
probably
coaching
not.
will get you there. No, coaching will get you there, but if you're working with a coach, you take your information back to the coach so the coach can help you fix that.
There you go.
If there's a fix. I mean, that's what you do. That's absolutely what you do.
Got another question here. Terry Briscoe again. Liz, what would you advise talent to do to help build their relationship with their agents?
Nothing.
Okay, you got to explain what you mean by that.
Listen, and I mean it. And Terry, I'm not putting you down. I was trying to be funny. Your agent is so busy, especially in voiceover. If an audition comes in, you can well imagine they've sent it out to, 200 people on the roster, 10 people on the roster. Doesn't really matter, but they're having to manage all those files coming in. They're really busy. I suggest if you want to do something funny once every blue moon, and how many blue moons are there in a year? Once in a blue moon, send them something funny. Don't say, hey, but send them something funny. Just tell them you're thinking about them. You sure appreciate the relationship. See you later, bye. It's just that agents are busy. And I'm not saying that they don't want a personal relationship with you. But when the day is done, which is never done for the agents, but when the day is done, that agent needs to turn off, because they have people coming at them all the time because they work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, Terry, I don't know if that's the answer you were expecting. But
well, you know what, Liz, I think that's a great answer. On one hand, I think you need to stay in touch with your agent once or twice a year to let them know the things that your goals are and any suggestions they might want to make, or even just if you have auditions in this area that I want to work in, what can I do to help you get me more auditions, market me in that area, and what tools can I help with you. I mean, if it's demos in that area or work that I've done in that area that maybe you don't know about, uh, you are partnering, but please, please, please don't be that person calling your agent every day, every week, every month. Well, how come I'm not getting, and what's going on, and why it's, and I think I should be, and my mother loves my voice. How can, no, no, you don't want to be that person at all.
And listen, dudes and dudettes, an agent really, unless you hit some kind of big time whoop de doo, an agent accounts for maybe 5 to 10% of your entire income. Instead of worrying about what your agent is or isn't doing for you, go out there and join every pay to play you can. I'm sorry if that sounds like the wrong thing to do, but hear me out. And I don't even, mine's not even a pay to play because you can be free on mine. But here's my logic. And I may or may not be popular. If you're paying that $250 or $500 a year to be on that platform, you've got somebody else out there day in and day out trying to find auditions for you. If you don't like the platform, don't stay on it.
Yeah.
But that's a canvassing for you. You make relationships and you reach out to producers. You do things like we're about to do. You do things with your coaches. You go to conferences. You study, you study, you study. You're a business. Keep yourself rocking and rolling.
I am not a fan of the pay to play sites, but they are a feature of the voiceover landscape now. They are not going away, or at least not anytime soon. And there are a lot of people doing very well with them. But if you're going to do the pay to play thing, learn how to do the pay to play thing because it's different than working with an agent. Let's see.
100%.
Larry Oblander 2. That's what I try to help people with. Your audition might have been perfect. It's just not quite whatever the casting or director had particularly in mind for the role. But you were very close when shortlisted. So true, so true, so true. There's some things about us that we can't and probably shouldn't try to change, as in who you actually are. You may be reminiscent of this voice actor or that actor or whatever, but it's your uniqueness, your unique essence that is going to make you stand out.
Well, I would also like to add that you don't just have one voice. Be prudent and smart when reading the copy as to which voice you should recall. I just think
go deeper in that. When you say you don't just have one voice,
you don't. I mean, certainly. I mean, I'm Liz Atherton. I talk Texan. I'm Liz Atherton. I talk dirty. You just have different voices within your range. I would hope, not just one voice. I mean, Dave, you've played how many characters in any given thing, and you have all these different voices.
True that.
Even as a new voice actor, at the very least, you have your talking voice and you have your sexy voice. And the reason I say that is 9 times out of 10, if I tell people I'm working with them on an audition or in some class and they're not getting, I'm like, give me your sexy voice. And it completely changes their demeanor. They don't necessarily sound sexy, just saying. But
so your sexy voice isn't working for sex, but it's working on this.
No. Yes, because they slow down and become much more deliberate. And I challenge all 20 people in here, 21, to just try that. And just tape yourself and go back and listen to yourself. And you'll see if I jump into my sexy voice. Well, Dave, I slow down my tenor, I slow down. And this is just me talking to you. Because I'm sitting down here in this other voice. And so when you're looking at the copy and you're looking at the role description, don't always give them the first thing that comes to mind. Let your agent up in your C-suite here talk to all your voices and see which is the best one for this role. Second take, throw in whatever you want. I do a thing called a second chance at a first impression. But I will tell you, as a casting director, I don't always make those second takes. I don't care if you tell me you got them. I'm being totally honest. It depends on how deep the role is. It depends on how far, if they're asking me to give picks. but usually I'm just weeding. I'm taking 300 auditions and narrowing it down to 100.
You're not looking
So
for a reason to keep them. You're looking for a reason to eliminate them until you get
100.
to that. And one of the things you just said, it brought me back to something we were talking about before, which is your authenticity and who you are, and say, talking to other people about who do you think I am by what I sound like when I speak to you. I always suggest people record themselves in their natural habitat in a lot of different situations. When you're arguing with your spouse, when you're having a wonderful time with your spouse, when you're hanging with your boys or your girls, when you're on the phone with a salesman, when you're talking with your kids, what do you actually sound like when you're just being you in your natural habitat? And we are different people, different sides of us all day, every day. And the more we can play the person we are, the character in this moment in time, and I don't care what it is, and this is something even after I had a successful career, the more I got into doing video games, the more the acting side of me took over. And I truly, truly believe it's not about the words. It's about this person with this worldview in this moment in time. That happens to be thinking and feeling this thing and saying it. And when you come from that, instead of, I'm going to make these words special, let me say these words perfectly, I find you get a much more real and believable performance.
I so agree with you. You said it so, so well. I try to tell people, you did. I mean, you did. I can't beat that, but I can augment it. I tell people that when quit walking into the booth, Liz Atherton, voice actor. Walk into the booth as Susie of that character role. Walk into the booth acting like Susie would act. Just get in it, and live it and breathe it as you're delivering it. Because that voice is Susie. It's not Liz, the voice actor. Now, Liz might walk in because she might be asked to do, I don't know, something Texan. But and that might be okay. Then the narrator, not narrator, but the presenter Liz would walk in just like Liz. But anyway, what you said is so true. Voiceover has become an acting sport. It is no longer just, hi, I'm Liz Atherton, and you should listen to me. It's not that anymore. It is a whole, because everything talks to you, and you've got to stand out, and you've got to stand out in a way that you feel normal.
Yeah, there's a reason that so many A-list and B-list actors are doing commercials, and so many of them these days, and the animated features. So many of them these days. And what you notice is often they are comedic actors. Sometimes they're dramatic actors. But there is something about their voice. Their voice is funny. It's just funny anytime you hear it, or it's dramatic anytime you hear it. And they're just lending who they are to these characters. I've got a comment here from Umberto Franco. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. And practice to audition. Don't audition to practice. I think that's a bit of brilliance. Practice to audition. Don't audition to practice. Thank you, Umberto. That was just wise.
Perfecto.
You had another comment before I pop that up.
Gosh, I'm taking you back to because I was totally into what Umberto was saying. You were talking about, oh God, what were we, Dave? Right before
you don't know. We were talking about being your authentic self at one point, about finding at who those authentic people are that live inside your head.
Yeah, no, it was after that. When it comes, I'll just say, and we'll go to it. But I don't have it right now.
Okay, so, tell me about cast voices. You mentioned the pay-to-play sites.
It's your favorite thing ever because you just love pay-to-play sites, and I just know. Okay, well, ours truly is different, and you truly can have a free profile. And if you haven't already done that, you should. If you upgrade, you keep us in business. But if you upgrade, then you get more demos, which gives you more opportunities to match. And if you upgrade to the Grand Slam 250 a year, you get unlimited everything, and you effectively, on all of the levels, free, standard, or pro, you effectively have a website. We're not overbranded. You can show everything. We're here for you.
But
The way
if your top price is $250 a year, and you do mean $250, right?
Yeah.
That is probably the lowest full price serviced pay-to-play site out there. Voices.com, Voices123.
And here,
you'll start at twice that, and then they have programs. Well, if you pay $2,500 or you pay $5,000, you'll get better auditions, and we can curate them for you and steal more money.
Well, let me tell you, we're different because we are modeled somewhat like the old voice bank, but we're different, just kind of in the interface. But when an audition is posted, irrespective if you are free, standard, or pro, if you match the specs, you are invited to audition. Where folks get frustrated is that sometimes casting directors only want 40 auditions. And the first 40 that get in there, well, you pros, and we are very blessed, we have many, many pros on our site. You pros are already in your booth 24/7, and that audition pops up, and you knock it out, and you go on. And it's the people that don't have that luxury. But then there's other times where a casting, like when I'm casting on the site, I leave it open for either 6 to 10 hours. I try to hit it all, and I will listen to every single one. But so that's where we're different, is that if you match the specs, you're invited to audition, irrespective of level. The levels get you more opportunities to match because you can post more demos, and you're matched based on your demo selections and the things that you've tagged within the site. So we're different.
Okay. Well, just the fact that now, do you do any curating of projects?
No, we do not.
Okay.
We do not, but we're very fortunate in that our projects have been worthy. I mean, I've just in the last month and a half did Academy, did Whole Foods, did Primatine Mist, did some animated TV shows, and all that's good. Here's the other thing.
So you're getting a fairly wide variety of types of projects and high-profile projects. What's that?
But still not enough. But we still have them out there, but people are like, well, I haven't been invited to audition in a while. Well, you probably didn't meet the specs of the things coming across, and I try every day to bring more and more projects across. I work my buns off to make it happen, and I have had some good successes. But I want more, and I am out there like a moat trying to just get people to use our site. And we'll get there. But they're so, I want those producers that are paying money on some other site to post a project to come over to ours. Not only do we have, I'm serious, the best talent in the world on our site. We're in 80 countries. Oh,
wow.
We have fabulous talent on our site, and because I'm friends with everybody in the circle, they're all on the site. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this: so you've got casting from across the world. How much of that casting is English voices or American voices for other countries?
I think I misled you. No, we have voiceover talent from 80 countries on the site.
Oh, okay.
Project one. Yeah. We've had 176 casting directors sign up. So we've got that going on. And casting directors can also be producers, things. We have some good relationships with some pretty big companies. But until people wean themselves from the big dogs where they're paying money, but they know how to do it, and come over to our site, which is absolutely free to post. We have bells and whistles like crazy, But I wish I were better at bringing the world over. I try real hard.
Well, it sounds like you're bringing the world over, maybe a little slower than you want to, but it sounds like they're coming over. And one of the things
There.
about the other pay-to-play sites, they will offer you, they will let you know, oh, you can sign up for free, but you will never book anything if you are not paying them money. I've got a couple of comments here. Tim Bamba wanted to let us know that 250 is 70 cents a day for that year.
I need a lot of those. It's a cup. It's not even a cup of coffee.
Yeah, not even a cup of coffee. You spend more
Tim,
than that in
you
Starbucks and Pete's
That's
every
right.
day. And Jen Grinfield and Cast Voices doesn't take any percentage of the jobs.
Oh, that's right. We don't. You
I
and
wish she
love
could
you.
have. And Cast Voices doesn't take any percentage of the jobs.
Soundbite, soundbite. Grab that Jen quick. Do it, girl. She's awesome. She's
Oh
awesome.
boy, I got to.
And she's right. We don't. We're completely transparent. She's right. That's a really big point. We are a machine. We are not involved. However, what's been kind of fun is when I cast, I also do that for free. And so, because I'm happy to. One, I know what I'm doing. Okay. Two, I have an incredible platform with incredible talent. And I also know how to negotiate. And so I don't even take commissions when I book talent as the casting director through my site. I just am here, I'm trying my best to get this platform rocking and rolling. And then Jen's helping us, and we just have some of the most loyal, awesome, wonderful people, and it's doing its thing. But I need more projects on it, and I try and I try,
Well, just
and
keep
I'll
working
get
on it.
there.
Just keep
I
working
will,
on
I
it.
will, and I appreciate everybody that stays with us.
Let me ask you this: what do you think the future of voiceover is? I mean, we've got AI, we've got the pay-to-play sites. The number of union gigs they've been under attack for the past 30 or 40 years. There's still some good union gigs out there, but a lot of people in the union are doing FI-core. What's our future?
Oh, you should have warned me. Um, just say it. Just say it. Um, I'm gonna tell a story in the on camera world, and this is my hope for VO. Okay, so I don't want to predict it because I don't want to put any kind of bad juju or the wrong juju out there. But what I will say is back in the 90s, I think it was the 90s, uh, suddenly people had cameras where they could shoot video. And so they started shooting their own commercials. They started shooting their own films. They started doing it all themselves. And a lot of people were displaced because where they would be hired, camera crew, everything, it's suddenly the workflow really, but you got what you paid for. And so it certainly turned around pretty quick. Now, in voiceover, I do think AI is a concern. I do. I I am not a fan, me personally, of people, you know, recording their voices. Not because I don't think they can go record their voices, but it's like it's a lot of work, and I don't think they need to find you. I think that there are so many AI generated voices right now that even if you went to all that effort, I'm not sure that it would ever you'd really get an ROI. And I'm happy to be wrong. Um, I do think so I'm in this group of people where we talk about our businesses, and there's a guy that's just built the best invention ever. You guys got money to invest, go invest in Alpha Fund. That's just all I can say there. But anyway, he's an
Alpha Fund?
AI Alpha Fund. Tell him Liz sent you. He's created the AI stock manipulator. So it is fabulous. His name is Matt. If I had money, I would be giving it to him. They're now just that they're all funded and built. Now they're looking to put money into their fund. The first time they ran their numbers against reality, it was like an 82% return. they had to cut it back for the debts. Hey, I'm just saying. Anyway, I've given you all the information I need to get you, and if you all get rich, you better bring it home to Mama. I'm just saying because I told you. But anyway, anyway, um, I think that in my conversations with Matt, he said, because he's very well versed in it. He said the people that will AI will completely replace every desk job there is out there. He says it can now, but the last industry that will survive will be the creative industry. He firmly believed that. So I do think AI is part of our, it's our competition next door as an actor.
I'm even worried about some of the creatives because there are prompts that you can to create art. There is AI art now that is being created based on prompts that you put in. I think in some ways it's going to take some of our work away, but I think we'll be able to license voices. And much in the same way,
I agree.
Much in the same way that we do now. It's going to be different.
I mean, I agree. If you can license voices, especially like yourself, you're celebrity. Your voice is its own being. Hello, doggy. It is.
That's Sultan.
Hi, Sultan. But for the people that are just getting started or the people that have a much more generic but they can deliver well sound, I think they need to figure out and really get the hustle and find those jobs that are good for them and just keep. I mean, it's a hustle. It's always a hustle. You just have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And who is this?
Oh, that's Clementine.
Clementine.
She's like, well, someone.
Oh, hello, baby.
And they're, they're good dogs. And they're pit bulls, and they're the sweetest dogs in the world.
I have a new rescue that is, I adopted her about 6 weeks ago. Her name's Penny Pearl, and she's a pit lab mix. She is currently at doggy training school. So she'll come home in a couple of weeks, and I had to do that because I live out in the country next to an Airbnb, and I need to be able to tell her no and have her stop. She's not harmful, but she's a pit Labrador mix. She has got some energy about her, and but I love her. But she's sweet as she can be, but she's a mess.
Well, both my dogs are sweet. I'm gonna, since we're wrapping up with this, I'm going to bring up something here. Nevin Stoltz. I saw a casting yesterday for an animated movie that's being made using AI. Crazy world we're living in. Yeah, I don't know if you saw 60 Minutes over the weekend. There was a big piece on artificial intelligence, and it is going to touch every part of our world. Some will be for better, some at least will seem like it's for worse. It'll be different. It may not be comfortable.
I gotta say, Dave, I'm tired of our generation dealing with shit. I'm just tired of it. We've had to deal with pandemics. We've had to deal with crashes. We've had to deal with a lot of stuff. Why AI? I'm sorry.
Well, my feeling is every generation has something. There was Vietnam. There was World War II. There was the First World War. There was the Great Depression. There were plagues. We always want to feel like we're living in more enlightened times, and then you hear Marjorie Taylor Greene. And yet there's a part of me that still feels like the arc of justice actually is swinging more and more towards actual justice in the world, despite the horrible things that we are witnessing. A young man knocking on a door and being shot by an old man, a young girl in her partners turning around in a driveway and someone decides, oh, you turned around in the driveway, I'm going to shoot you, and that woman lost her life. We have a lot of horrible things going on. And yet, I looked at the number of people in Kansas that came out to stand with and for that young man that got shot. I think more of us are good people and want the right things than the few of us. The few of us just happen to be louder.
Again, I couldn't have said it any better. I do believe, I got a little heebie-jeebie, not heebie-jeebie, but woo-woo about me. And I think that we're kind of in this, dawn of, I want to call it the age of Aquarius. That's just being kind of funny, but this space of right and wrong. And I think most of us believe we're right, of course, but if we err on the side of being good to humans and not controlling of humans, it really doesn't matter what color you wear, what color you are, how you brush your teeth. Great.
Oh, no, that's where I draw the line, how you brush your teeth. Do you go around in a circle or just up and down? Do you start on the left or you start on the right?
Is your toilet paper over or under? Yeah. But if we err on the side of kindness, just freaking kindness, then we're okay. And I think that I see a lot of kindness. I'm on LinkedIn, and most of my posts on LinkedIn are about either funny or thought-provoking in a different way.
You post some funny stuff.
Well, on Facebook, I apologize not. If y'all want to follow me on Facebook, I'm warning you, I'm irreverent. But on LinkedIn, it's a little different. But I do this because I want people to be able to step out of the business of scrolling on LinkedIn, because it's all business, and you're all like, oh, what? There's something different, and it just makes me feel good, and it's just a place I like being on there. I'm smart as a whip. I really am.
I believe, and you're a character at the same time. But listen, we are at 7:02. I always promise we'll get done at 7. Sometimes we don't make. Sometimes we go over. But Liz, just wrap us up with some words of wisdom, just something that popped into your mind, or some advice you give a lot that you'd like to leave people with.
Always seek your joy. Always seek your joy in your work, in your family, in your happy times. Seek your joy, and I think that everything else will fall into place.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Liz Atherton, and it has been
my pleasure.
A pleasure. Bravo.
Thank you.
I will let you go, and we will talk, and I'll be going over to your cast voices, and I recommend others do as well, and see what we can get going there. All right.
Oh my God, I love you.
Oh, right back at you. Right back at you.
Bye, Dave.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Liz Atherton, thank you so much. She was wonderful. Don't you agree? Yes. Woo! Big hand for Liz Atherton. All right. Well, these Ask Dave Fennoy Anythings will live on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. If you are interested in coaching with me, davefennoy.com. And once again, my Twitter account got hacked. It was taken over. I can't even get on it anymore. So the thousands of followers I had are apparently lost to me. But I will start again. And if you will be so kind as to follow me at Dave Fennoy VO, we'll start building those numbers up again. Anyway, all the best, everybody, and I'll see you next Wednesday. In the meantime and in between time, book something.